Hello and welcome. Okay, previously in the last video I have covered river dominated deltas, the two types of river dominated deltas, that is elongate delta and lobate delta. We have seen the phases associated with these elongate and lobate deltas. Now today I am going to talk on marine dominated deltas, and we will also see the types of marine dominated deltas, that is wave dominated delta and tide dominated delta. Uh, in the beginning of this topic, we have seen the modern examples of these deltas, that is Nile delta and Ganga Brahmaputra delta, the example of wave and tide dominated deltas respectively, and also we have seen the important characters of these deltas. So there are certain important factors related to the phases associated with these deltas is remaining, and also the uh, net sand pattern in these deltas that we have to see. So these marine dominated deltas, as you know, these are influenced by the marine conditions or marine action, and due to this the progradation of the shoreline towards the seaward side is not that extensive as in case of high constructive deltas. So waves or tides redistribute and erode the sediments deposited by the rivers, and that is the reason they are called as high constructive deltas. So aerial extent could be similar to that of river dominated delta, but destructive marine phases are dominant and fluvial phases are not so well preserved in these deltas. Also the sand proportion is high. The feeding river system could be a braided river system or a meandering river system. Delta plain phases are poorly developed. Delta distributary channels or levees cannot be recognized as easily as in case of a river dominated delta or low bed delta, and organic deposits are meager, very little in amount. That is true in case of wave dominated delta, but still in case of tide dominated deltas there is more of organic matter and carbon available. So to start with the wave dominated delta, as previously shown in the last slide, the feeding stream could be a meandering stream or a braided stream, and the second point is important here. The ratio of bed load to suspended load, it is high in case of wave dominated delta. If you remember this particular ratio in case of elongated deltas, the ratio of bed load to suspended load is low in case of high constructive elongated deltas, since more of sediments are transported by suspension, and that is the reason river dominated deltas spread out into the ocean in the form of bird foot or lobate geometry. But here the suspended load transportation is less. Most of the sediments are transported by bed load, and therefore the progradation is also little in comparison to the first type of deltas. So rate of progradation of shoreline is lower, carbonaceous deposits are less, and coastal barrier bars and lagoons are associated with these wave dominated deltas. You know how the longshore drift currents result into the lateral transportation of sand from the mouth of the distributary channel to form the barrier bars. Now, although these barrier bars are associated with these wave dominated deltas, these barrier bars are not similar to the ideal barrier bar complex environments, where you get to see all the sub-environments associated with the barrier bars, like tidal channels, tidal inlets, uh, tidal deltas or lagoon. So all these sub-environments associated with barrier bars, which is a part of strike fade system, are not so very well developed in case of wave dominated deltas. That is the difference. So barrier bar island complex environment is a different thing altogether, which is a solely strike fade system, solely formed as a result of action of waves, even though there is no sediment from delta. So although barrier bars are seen associated with wave dominated deltas, they are not so very well developed. That is what you have to remember. So these are the four important phases which are associated with wave dominated deltas, starting from the proximal part of the delta, that is from the mouth of the river. So these deltas are associated with meandering belt system. In few cases there could be a braided channel also, but that is very rare. Second phases is channel mouth bar phases, and this is a progradational phases. So these two phases, the meander belt system or channel bar phases, are fluvially influenced phases. Channel bar, mouth bar phases are not so well preserved since the sediments get redistributed by the waves. Next comes the coastal barrier bar or strand plains, solely formed due to the wave action, and you might also get to see lagoonal phases or marsh. As I told you previously, these lagoons are not so very well developed when they are associated with wave dominated deltas. Now here in this diagram you can see these phases, four different type of phases. This is the meandering channel, barrier bars are here, then lagoon and marsh is somewhere here, and this is the mouth bar, and these are electrical log patterns, electric log patterns of these different phases. So you won't be able to read and understand their behavior right now, but when you study the wireline logging and the interpretation of these different types of logs, it will be easier for you to understand the variation. Now this is the cross section along the beach where you get to see different shore face environments. Now again, when we begin with the strike fade systems, we are going to see all these environments in detail. Now just for understanding purpose, in this case you see the sequence of environments. Starting from the seaward side, this is continental shelf, then comes the shore face, which is divided into upper shore face and lower shore face, and then comes the beach, fore beach and back beach. The beach is divided into two, and total thickness here is 30 feet. Now these same environments, also see the grain size here. This graph here represents grain size versus depth. So depth is decreasing downwards, and this is grain size coarsening away. You can see FN, which stands for fine, and CS for coarse. So this sequence shows coarsening upward sequence, the beach sand. Now the same faces are represented here, and you can see their parameters. At the bottom you have a continental shelf, then lower shore face, then upper shore face, and beach on the top. What happens in case of grain size and grain sorting? Obviously the grain size goes on increasing upwards. The shelf, continental shelf, is made up of fine sediments, clay or mud in few cases, and as you move towards the beach, the grain size goes on decreasing. Also the sorting of these sediments is greater when the sediments are near the beach. Due to the action of waves or tides, the to and fro action of waves sorts the sediments on the beach according to their grain size. Therefore the sediments which are close to the beach are very well sorted, and as you move towards the shelf, the sorting goes on decreasing. Then the third parameter is bioturbation, that is the activity of organisms. Now since the environment near the beach is turbulent, there is little of bioturbation, but as you move towards the finer sediments where the water is calm and quiet, that is towards the shelf, the bioturbation or the activity of organisms is more. Also the shell content, the content of shells which is associated with the organic organisms, it is more towards the continental shelf than at the beach. So in conclusion, the same thing that we have seen in the introduction, the progradation of these deltas is limited, and you get to see more of marine influenced facies than fluvially influenced facies. And although you get to see some environments associated with the strike fed system like lagoons and barrier bars, they are not so very well developed here. Now here in this diagram you can see the net sand pattern. Now see carefully, this is high constructive lobate delta, which is labeled as A, and figure B here is high destructive wave dominated delta, and their shapes are similar. Both are lobate in shape, but the difference is that the depositional strike, or the axis along which the deposition takes place, the maximum sand axis positions are different. Now in case of high constructive delta, the maximum sand axis is perpendicular to the coastline. This is the major sand axis, and there are minor sand axes also here, which are also running away from the coastline, slightly perpendicular to the coastline. But in case of wave dominated deltas, there are clearly two major sand axis, maximum sand axis. One is perpendicular to the coastline, that is the one which belongs to the fluvial system which brings the sediments into the delta, and the other sand axis is parallel to the coastline, which is formed as a result of redistribution of sediments by the longshore drift currents generated by the waves. So that is the difference. Although their shapes look similar, although both deltas look lobate or arcuate, the net maximum sand axis is only one in case of lobate or birdfoot delta, or it is perpendicular to the coastline, whereas in case of high constructive wave dominated deltas, there will be two maximum sand axis. One axis is perpendicular to the coastline and other axis is parallel to the coastline. Now see, this is the example of birdfoot delta, where you can see multiple maximum sand axis which run perpendicular to the coastline or at an angle to the coastline, not parallel. Okay, now the next one is high destructive tide dominated deltas. We have seen the example of Ganga Brahmaputra delta. So in these deltas, similar to the wave dominated deltas, the facies which is associated with the proximal part of the delta could be a braided stream or a meandering stream. Delta plain mud facies which is on the top of the delta, it is rich in organic material as against the wave dominated delta. Here the organic material is still preserved since the sediments are trapped in place by the growth of vegetation and mostly mangroves. Next comes the delta front sand, and it consists of elongated tidal flat facies, and finally on the distal part of the delta you will get to see pro-delta shelf which is associated with certain fauna. So instead of tidal flats, barrier bars may also be seen in case of tide dominated deltas, where the wave action is sufficient for the formation of these barrier bars, but that is very rare. So this is how a tide dominated delta looks. You can see the tidal flats and tidal channels which are broad and deep. This is again an example of tide dominated delta. where you can see the digited sand pattern, where these bars are rearranged perpendicular to the coastline. In case of wave dominated delta, the net sand pattern is perpendicular to the coastline as well as parallel to the coastline. But in this case, in case of tide dominated deltas, the net sand pattern or maximum sand axis is only perpendicular to the coastline. And this is the conditions existing at the mouth of the river when the wave is dominant and when the tide is dominant. Now see, when the wave is dominant, due to the swash current and longshore drift currents, these barrier bars are formed, and in case of tide dominated deltas, tidal channels, tidal inlets and tidal flats are generated. So I think this is enough information for you related to the topic of delta system. In addition to this, I'm going to make one video where we will discuss the various petroleum reservoirs associated with the delta systems, and that will be the end of this topic.